50th year of Yubal, Caphar, reading in a year, day 1, Dueteronomy, chapter 31. And Masha went and spoke these words unto all Yasharal, and he said unto them, I am 120 years old this day. I can no more go out and come in. Also, Yahuwah has said unto me, You shall not go over this Yarden. Yahuwah Lahaika, he will go over before you, and he will destroy these nations from before you, and you shall possess them. And Yahusha, he shall go over before you, as Yahuwah has said. And Yahuwah shall do unto them as he did in Sichon and to Og, kings of the Amorim, and unto the land of them whom he destroyed. And Yahuwah shall give them up before your face, that ye may do unto them according to all the commandments which I have commanded you. Be strong and of good courage, fear not, nor be afraid of them. For Yahuwah Aluahaika, he it is that goes with you. He will not fail you, nor forsake you. And Masha called unto Yahusha, and said unto him in the sight of all Yasharal, Be strong and of good courage, for you must go with this people unto the land which Yahuwah has sworn unto their fathers to give them, and you shall cause them to inherit it. And Yahuwah, he it is that goes before you. He will be with you. He will not fail you, neither forsake you. Fear not, neither be dismayed. And Masha wrote this Torah, and delivered it unto the Kohanim, the Banim of Lawi, which bore the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah, and unto all the elders of Yasharal. And Masha commanded them, saying, At the end of every 7 years, in the solemnity of the year of release, in the feast of Sukkot, when all Yasharal is to come in, appear before Yahuwah Elohaika to the place which he shall choose, you shall read this Torah before all Yasharal in their hearing. Gather the people together, men and women and children, and your strangers that is within your gates, that they may hear, and that they may learn and fear Yahuwah Elohaika, and guard to do all the words of this Torah, and that their children, which have not known anything, may hear and learn to fear Yahuwah Elohaikim, as long as ye live in the land whither ye go over the Jordan to possess it. And Yahuwah said unto Masha, Behold, your days approach that you must die. Call Yahusha, and present yourselves in the tabernacle of the assembly, that I might give him a charge. And Masha and Yahusha went and presented themselves in the tabernacle of the assembly. And Yahuwah appeared in the tabernacle in a pillar of a cloud, and the pillar of the cloud stood over the door of the tabernacle. And Yahuwah said unto Masha, Behold, you shall sleep with your fathers, and this people will rise up and go a whoring after the Elohai of the strangers of the land, whither they go to be among them, and will forsake me and break my commandments, my covenant which I have cut with them. Then my anger shall be kindled against them in that day, and I will forsake them, and I will hide my face from them, and they shall be devoured, and many evils and troubles shall befall them, so that they will say in that day, Are not these evils come upon us, because our Elohim is not among us? And I will surely hide my face in that day, for all the evils which they shall have wrought in that day are turned unto other Elohim. Now therefore write ye this song for you, and teach it. Teach the children of Yasharal. put it in their mouths, that this song may be a witness for them against the children of Yasharal for me. For when I shall have brought them into the land which I swore unto their fathers, that flows with milk and honey, and they shall have eaten and filled themselves and waxen fat, then will they turn unto other Elohim and serve them and provoke me and break my covenant. And it shall come to pass, when many evils and troubles are befallen them, that this song shall testify against them as a witness, for it shall not be forgotten out of the mouths of their seed. For I know their imagination, which they go about even now, before I have brought them into the land which I swore. Masha therefore wrote this song the same day, and taught it to the children of Yasharal. And he gave Yahusha, the son of Nun, a charge, and said, Be strong, and of a true courage, for you shall bring the children of Yasharal into the land which I swore unto them, and I will be with you. And it came to pass, when Masha had made an end of writing the words of this Torah in a Caphar, until they were finished, that Masha commanded the Lawim, which bore the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah, saying, Take this Caphar of the Torah, and put it on the side of the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah Elohim, that it may be there for a witness against you. For I know your rebellion and your stiff neck. Behold, while I am yet alive with you this day, ye have been rebellious against Yahuwah, and how much more after my death? Gather unto me all the elders of your tribes and your officers, that I may speak these words in their ears, and call the Shamayim and the earth to record against them. For I know that after my death ye will utterly corrupt yourselves, and turn aside from the way which I have commanded you, and evil will befall you in the latter days, because ye will do evil in the sight of Yahuwah, to provoke him to anger through the work of your hands. And Masha spoke in the ears of all the assembly of Yasharal the words of this song until they were ended. Yubalim, chapter 1.
And it came to be in the first year of the children of Yasharal coming out of Natsarym, in the 3rd month, on the 16th day of the month, that Elohim spoke to Moshe, saying, Come up to me on the mountain, and I shall give you 2 tablets of stone, of the Torah and of the command, which I have written, that you may teach them. And Moshe went up into the mountain of Elohim, and the esteem of Yahuwah dwelt on Mount Sinai. And a cloud overshadowed it 6 days. And he called to Moshe on the 7th day out of the midst of the cloud, and the appearance of the esteem of Yahuwah was like a flaming fire on top of the mountain. And Moshe was on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights, and Elohim taught him the earlier and the latter history of the division of all the days of the law and of the witnesses. And he said, Incline your heart to every word which I shall speak to you on this mountain, and write them in a book, in order that the generations may see how I have forsaken them for all the evil which they have done in transgressing the covenant which I established between me and you for their generations this day on Mount Sinai. And so it shall come to be, when all these matters come upon them, that they shall recognize that I am more righteous than they in all their judgments and in all their actions, and they shall recognize that I have been true with them. And you shall write for yourself all these words which I declare to you this day, for I know their rebellion and their stiff neck, before I bring them into the land of which I swore to their father, to Abraham, to Yitzhak, and to Jacob, saying, Unto your seed I shall give a land flowing with milk and honey, and they shall eat and be satisfied. And they shall turn to strange mighty ones, to mighty ones which cannot deliver them from any of their tribulation. And this witness shall be heard, for they witness against them. For they shall forget all my commands, even all that I commanded them. And they shall walk after the Gentiles, and after their uncleanliness, and after their shame, and shall serve their mighty ones. And these shall come to be an offense to them, and a tribulation, and an affliction, and a snare. And many shall perish, and they shall be taken captive, and shall fall into the hands of the enemy, because they have forsaken my laws and my commands, and the festivals of my covenant, and the Shabbatot, and the Kodash place, which I have Kodash for myself in their midst, and my Mishkan, and the Mikdash, which I have Kodash for myself in the midst of the land, that I should place my name upon it, and there it shall dwell. And they shall make for themselves high places of Asherim, and carve images, and shall worship each his own, as to go astray. And they shall offer their children to demons, and to all the works of the straying of their hearts. And I shall send witnesses to them, that I may witness against them, but they shall not hear. And I shall slay the witnesses also, and they shall persecute those who seek the law. And they have overturned and charged all so as to work evil before my eyes. And I shall hide my face from them, and I shall deliver them into the hand of the Gentiles for captivity, and for a prey, and for devouring. And I shall remove them from the midst of the land, and I shall scatter them among the Gentiles. And they shall forget all my Torah, and all my commands, and all my right rulings, and shall go astray as the new moons, and the Sabbatot, and the festivals of Jubilees, and laws. And after this they shall turn to me from among the Gentiles with all their heart, and all their being, and with all their strength. And I shall gather them from among all the Gentiles, and they shall seek me, so that I shall be found by them, when they seek me with all their heart and with all their being. And I shall reveal to them great peace with righteousness, and I shall plant them in this land in truth, with all my heart and with all my being. And they shall be for a baruka, and not for a curse. And they shall be the head and not the tail. And I shall build my meat stock in their midst, and I shall dwell with them, and I shall be their Elohim, and they shall be my people in truth and in righteousness. And I shall build my meat stock in their midst, Mikdash, in their midst, and I shall dwell with them, and I shall, did I read that? They shall be my people in the truth and in righteousness. And I shall not forsake them nor fail them, for I am Yahuwah their Elohim. And Moshe fell on his face and prayed and said, O Adon, my Elohim, do not forsake your people and your inheritance, so that they should wander in straying of their hearts. And do not deliver them into the hands of their enemies, the Gentiles, lest they should rule over them and curse them to sin against you. Let your loving kindness, O Adon, be lifted upon your people, and create in them an upright ruach. And do not let the ruach of Belial rule over them, to accuse them before you, and to ensnare them from the paths of righteousness, so that they might perish from before your face. But they are your people and your inheritance, which you have delivered, which you with your great powers from the hands of the.
What verse?
Right there.
What verse is it?
Mitzrites. Create in them a clean heart and Kadash Ruach, and do not let them be ensnared in their sins from this time and forever. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, I know their unruliness and their thoughts, and they are stiff-necked, and they shall not be obedient till they confess their own sins and the sins of their fathers, And after this they shall turn to me in all uprightness, and with all their heart, and with all their being. And I shall circumcise the foreskin of their heart, and the foreskin of the heart of their seed. And I shall create in them a Kadash Ruach, and I shall cleanse them, so that they shall not turn away from me from that day unto eternity. And their being shall cling to me and to all my commands, and they shall perform my commands, and I shall be their father, and they shall be my children, and they shall be called children of the living Elohim. And every messenger and every Ruach shall know, even they shall know that these are my children, and I am their father, in uprightness and righteousness, and that I love them. And you shall write down for yourselves all these words, which I declare unto you on this mountain, the first and the last, which shall come to be in the divisions of the days, in the laws and of the witnesses, and in the Shabbatot and in the Jubilees forever, until I descend and dwell with them forever. And he said to the messenger of the presence, write, for Musha from the beginning of creation till Mikdash has been built among them forever. And Yahuwah shall appear to the eyes of all, and all shall know that I am Elohim of Yasharel, and the father of all the children of Jacob, and sovereign on Mount Sion forever. And Sion and Yerushalayim shall be Kudash. And the messengers of the presence who went before the camp of Yasharel took the tablet and of the divisions of the years from the time of the creation of the law, and the witness of the Sabbatot, and of the Jubilees according to the individual years, according to the number of the Jubilees from the day of the creation, when the Shamayim and the Eretz all be renewed, and all their creation according to the powers of the Shamayim, and ascending to all the creation of the earth, until the Mikdash of Yahuwah shall be made in Yerushalayim on Mount Zion, and all the lights be renewed, for healing and for peace, and for a Baruchah for all the chosen of Yasharel. And so it shall be from that day and to all days of the Eretz.
Jubilees, chapter 2. And the Malak of the presence spoke to Masha according to the word of Yahuwah, saying, write the complete history of the creation, how in 6 days Yahuwah Elohim finished all his works and all that he created, and kept Shabbat on the 7th day, and sanctified it for all ages, and appointed it as a sign for all his works. For on the first day he created the Shamayim, which are above, and the earth, and the waters, and all the Ruachut, which serve before him, the Malakim of the presence, and the Malakim of the sanctification, and the Malakim of the Ruach of fire, and the Malakim of the Ruach of the winds, and the Malakim of the Ruach of the clouds, and of darkness, and of snow, and of hail, and of hoarfrost, and the Malakim of the voices, and of the thunder, and of the lightning, and of the Malakim of the Ruachut of cold, and of heat, and of winter, and of spring, and of autumn, and of summer, and of all the Ruachut of his creatures, which are in the Shamayim and on the earth. He created the abysses and the darkness, evening and night, and the light, dawn and day, which he has prepared in the knowledge of his heart. And thereupon we saw his works, and praised him, and lauded before him on account of all his works. For 7 great works did he create on the first day. And on the second day he created the expanse in the midst of the waters. And the waters were divided on that day. Half of them went up above, and half of them went down below the expanse that was in the midst over the face of the whole earth. And this was the only work Elohim created on the second day. And on the third day he commanded the waters to pass from off the face of the whole earth into one place, and the dry land to appear. And the waters did so as he commanded them, and they retired from off the face of the earth into one place outside of this expanse. And the dry land appeared, and on that day he created for them all the seas according to their separate gathering places, and all the rivers, and the gatherings of the waters, and the mountains, on all the earth, and all the lakes, and all the dew of the earth, and the seed which is sown, and all sprouting things, and fruit-bearing trees, and trees of the wood, and the garden of Eden, and Eden, and all. These 4 great works Elohim created on the third day. And on the fourth day he created the sun, and the moon, and the stars, and set them in the expanse of the Shamayim, to give light upon all the earth, and to rule over the day and the night, and divide the light from the darkness. And Elohim appointed the sun to be a great sign on the earth, for days, and for Shabbats, and for months, and for feasts, and for years, and for Shabbats of years, and for Yubalim, and for all seasons of the years. And it divides the light from the darkness, and for prosperity, that all things may prosper which shoot out and grow on the earth. These 3 kinds he made on the 4th day. And on the 5th day he created great sea monsters in the depths of the waters, for these were the first things of flesh that were created by his hands, the fish, and everything that moves in the waters, and everything that flies, the birds and their kind. And the sun rose above them to prosper them, and above everything that was on the earth, everything that shoots out of the earth, and all fruit-bearing trees, and all flesh. These 3 kinds he created on the 5th day. And on the 6th day he created all the animals of the earth, and all the cattle, and everything that moves on the earth. And after all this he created man. A man and a woman created he them, and gave him dominion over all that is upon the earth, and in the seas, and over everything that flies, and over beasts, and over cattle, and over everything that moves on the earth, and over the whole earth, and over all this he gave him dominion. And these 4 kinds he created on the 6th day. And there were altogether 22 kinds, that is, 22 kinds. And he finished all his work on the 6th day, all that is in the Shamayim, and on the earth, and in the seas, and in the abysses, and in the light, and in the darkness, and in everything. And he gave us a great sign, the Shabbat, that we should work 6 days, but guard the Sabbath on the 7th day from all work. And all the Malachim of the presence, and all the Malachim of the sanctification, these 2 great classes he has bidden us to guard the Shabbat with him in Shamayim and on earth. And he said unto us, Behold, I will separate unto myself a people from among all the peoples, and these shall guard the Shabbat. And I will sanctify them unto myself as my people, and will barak them, as I have sanctified the Shabbat, and do sanctify it unto myself. Even so will I barak them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Elohim. And I have chosen the seed of Akub, from amongst all that I have seen, and have written him down as my firstborn bond, and have sanctified him unto myself forever and ever. And I will teach them the Shabbat, that they may guard the Shabbat thereon from all work. And thus he created therein a sign, in accordance with which they should guard the Shabbat with us on the seventh day, to eat and to drink, and to barak him who has created all things, as he baraked and sanctified unto himself a peculiar people above all peoples, and that they should guard the Shabbat together with us. And he caused his commands to ascend as a sweet savor, acceptable before him all the days. There were 22 heads, that is, 22 heads of mankind, from Adam and Yaqub, and 22 kinds, that is, 22 kinds of work were made until the seventh day. This is Baruch and Kadash, and the former also he Baruch and Kadash, and this one serves with that one for a sanctification and a barakah. And to this Yaqub and his seed it was granted that they should always be the Baruch and Kadashim of the first testimony and Torah, even as he had sanctified and Baruch the Shabbat on the seventh day. He created Shamayim and earth, and everything that he created in 6 days. And Elohim made the seventh day Kadash for all his works. Therefore he commanded on its behalf that whosoever does any work thereon shall die, and that he who defiles it shall surely die. Wherefore do you command the children of Yasharal to observe this day, that they may keep it Kadash, and not do thereon any work, and not to defile it, as it is Kadash, more Kadash than all the other days. And whosoever profanes it shall surely die, and whosoever does thereon any work shall surely die eternally, that the children of Yasharal may observe this day throughout their generations, and not be rooted out of the land. For it is a Kadash day, and a Baruch day, and everyone who observes it and guards Shabbat thereon from all his work will be Kadash and Baruch throughout all days like unto his. Declare and say to the children of Yasharal the Torah of this day, both that they should guard the Shabbat thereon, and that they should not forsake it in the error of their hearts, and that it is against the Torah to do any work thereon which is unseemly, to do thereon their own pleasure, and that they should not prepare thereon anything to be eaten or drunk, and that it is against the Torah to draw water or bring in or take out thereon throughout their gates any burden which they had not prepared for themselves on the 6th day in their dwellings. And they shall not bring in nor take out from house to house on that day, for that day is more Kadash and Baruch than any Jubilee day of the Jubilees. On this we kept Shabbat in the Shamayim before it was made known to any flesh, to guard the Shabbat thereon the earth. And the Creator of all things, Baruch it, but he did not sanctify all peoples and nations to guard the Shabbat thereon, but Yasharal alone, them alone he permitted to eat and drink, and to guard the Shabbat thereon the earth. And the Creator of all things, Baruch this day, which he had created for a barakah, and kadashness, and esteem above all days. This Torah and testimony was given to the children of Yasharal as a Torah forever unto their generations.
Jubilees chapter 3. And on the 6 days of the second week, according to the word of Elohim, he brought to Adam all the beasts and all the cattle, and of the birds and of all that moves on the earth, and all that moves in the water, according to their kinds, and according to their types, the beast on the first day, the cattle on the second day, the bird on the third day, and all that moves on the earth on the fourth day, and that which moves in the water on the fifth day. And Adam named them all by their respective names, and as he called them, so their name was. And on these 5 days Adam saw all these, male and female, according to every kind that was on the earth. But he was alone and found no helper for himself. And Yahuwah said to us, It is not tube that a man should be alone. Let us make a helper for him. And Yahuwah our Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall upon him, and he slept. And he took for the woman one rib from among his ribs, and this rib was the origin of the woman from among his rib. And he built up the flesh in its stead, and made the woman. And he woke Adam out of his sleep, and upon waking he rose on the 6th day, and he brought her to him, and he knew her, and said to her, This is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore man and wife shall be one. And therefore a man shall leave his mother and his father and his mother, and cling to his wife, and they shall be one flesh. In the 1st week Adam was created, and the rib his wife. In the 2nd week he showed her to him, and for his reaction the command was given to keep in their defilement, for a male 7 days, and for a woman twice 7 days. And after Adam had completed 40 days in the land where he had been created, he brought him into the Garden of Eden to till and keep it. But his wife they brought in on the 8th day, and after this she entered into the Garden of Eden. And for this reason the command is written on the tables of the Shamayim in regards to her that gives birth. If she gives birth forth to a male, she shall remain in her uncleanness 7 days according to the 1st week of the days, and 33 days she shall remain in blood of her purifying. And she shall not teach any Kadash matter, nor enter into the Mikdash, until she accomplishes these days, which are commanded in case of the male child. But in case of a female child, she shall remain in her uncleanliness 2 weeks of days, according to the first 2 weeks, and 66 days in the blood of her purification, and they shall be 80 days in all. And when she had completed these 80 days, we brought her into the Garden of Eden, for it is more Kadash than all the earth besides, and every tree that is planted in it is Kadash. Therefore there was ordained regarding her who brings forth a male or female child, the law of those days, that she should touch no Kadash matter, nor enter into Mikdash, until these days for the male or female child are accomplished. This is the Torah and witness which was written down for Yasharel, in order that they should observe it forever. And in the 1st day of the 1st Yubal, Adam and his wife were in the Garden of Eden for 7 years, tilling and keeping it. And we gave him work, and we instructed him to do all that is subtle for serving. And he tilled the garden and was naked, and was not aware of it, and was not ashamed. And he protected the garden from the birds and the beasts and the cattle, and gathered its fruits and ate, and put aside the remainder for itself and for his wife. And after the completion of the 7 years which he had completed there, 7 years exactly, in that 2nd month, and on the 17th day of the month, the serpent came and approached the woman. And the serpent said to the woman, Has Elohim commanded you, saying, You shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And she said to him, Of all the fruit of the trees of the garden, Elohim has said to us, Eat but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim said to us, You shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said to the woman, You shall certainly not die, for Elohim knows that on the day that you eat of it, your eyes shall be open, and you shall be like Elohim, and you shall know good and evil. And the woman said, The tree, and the woman saw the tree that was agreeable and pleasant to the eye, and that its fruit was tube for food, and she took of it and ate it. And when she had first covered her shame with fig leaves, she gave to it to Adam, and he ate, and his eyes were opened, and he saw that he was naked. And he saw fig tree leaves and sewed them together and made a covering for himself, and covered his shame. And Elohim cursed the serpent and was wroth with it forever. And he was wroth with the woman because she listened to the voice of the serpent and ate. And he said to her, I shall greatly multiply your sorrow and your pains. And in sorrow you shall bring forth children, and return shall be unto your husband, and he shall rule over you. And to Adam also he said, Because you have listened to the voice of your wife, and have eaten of the tree which I commanded you that you should not eat of it, cursed be the ground for your sake. Thorns and thistles it shall bring forth to you, and you shall eat your bread in the sweat of your face, till you return to the earth from where you were taken. From dust you were, and from dust you shall return. And he made for them coats of skin, and clothed them, and set them out from the Garden of Eden. And on that day on which Adam went out from the garden, he offered as a sweet fragrance an offering frankincense, galbanum, and fragrant gum and spices in the morning with the rising of the sun, from the day when he covered his shame. And on that day the mouth of all beasts and clothes and of cattle and the birds and whatsoever walks and of whatever moves, so that they could no longer speak, for they had all spoken one with another with one lip and with one tongue. And he said out of the garden of Eden, all flesh that was in the Garden of Eden, and all flesh was scattered according to their kind, and according to the types of the places which they had been created for them. And to Adam alone he gave the means to cover his shame of all the beasts and cattle. On this account it is prescribed on the tablet of the Shamayim as regarding all those who know the right ruling of the Torah, that they should cover their shame, and should not uncover themselves as the Gentiles uncover themselves. And now the new moon of the 4th month, Adam and his wife went out from the Garden of Eden, and they dwelt in the land of Elda, in the land of their creation. And Adam called the name of his wife Hua. And they had no son till the first Yubal, and after this he knew her.
No ban.
Huh?
No ban.
Ban. Now he tilled the land as he had been instructed in the Garden of Eden.
Genesis chapter 1. In the beginning, Elohim created the Shamayim and the Aretz, and the Aretz was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Ruach Elohim moved upon the face of the waters. And Elohim said, Let there be light, and there was light. And Elohim saw that the light, that it was two, and that Elohim divided the light from the darkness. And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And Elohim said, Let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And Elohim made the expanse, and divided the waters which were under the expanse from the waters which were above the expanse, and it was so. And Elohim called the expanse Shamayim, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And Elohim said, Let the waters under the Shamayim be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And Elohim called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And Elohim saw that it was tub. And Elohim said, Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. And the arets brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And Elohim saw that it was tub. And the evening and the morning were the third day. And Elohim said, Let there be lights in the expanse of the Shamayim, to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for appointed feasts, and for days, and for years, and let them be for lights in the expanse of the Shamayim, to give lights upon the earth. And it was so. And Elohim made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And Elohim set them in the expanse of the Shamayim, to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And Elohim saw that it was tub. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. And Elohim said, Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creatures that has chai, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open expanse of Shamayim. And Elohim created great dragons, and everything and every living creature that moves, which the waters brought forth abundantly, after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And Elohim saw that it was tub. And Elohim baruch them, saying, Be fruitful, and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. And Elohim said, Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beasts of the earth after his kind. And it was so. And Elohim made the beasts of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creeps upon the earth after his kind. And Elohim saw that it was tub. And Elohim said, Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth. So Elohim created man in his own image, in the image of Elohim created he him, male and female created he them. And Elohim baruch them, and Elohim said unto them, Be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth. And Elohim said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for food, and to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creeps upon the earth, wherein there is chai. I have given every green herb for food. And it was so. And Elohim saw that everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, and there was the sixth day. Genesis chapter 2.
Thus the Shamayim and the Arets were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day Elohim ended his work which he had made, and rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim baruched the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had restored from all his work which Elohim created and made. These are the generations of the Shamayim and the Arets when they were created in the day that Yahuwah made the earth and the Shamayim, and every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. For Yahuwah had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. But there went up from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. And Yahuwah formed the man of dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of high, and the man became a living soul, Nephash. And Yahuwah planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man.
Should says something about a mist that watered the garden.
Oh, did I skip that?
Yeah, I think so.
My bad, I'm sorry. But there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. And Elohim formed the dust for the man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, high, and the man became a living soul, Nephash. And planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground made Yahuwah to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight, and tube for food, and the tree of high also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of tube and evil. And the river went out to Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted, and became into 4 heads. The name of the first, you're gonna have to help me with those. The name of the first is
Pishon, that is, which compasses the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold, and that gold of the land is tube. There is Bilium and the onyx stone, and the name of the second river is Gihon. The same is it that compasses the whole land of Cush, and the name of the third river is the Hiddekel. This is it which goes toward the east of Asher, and the fourth river is Parat. And Yahuwah Elohim, took the man and put him into the garden of Eden, and dressed it and guarded it.
And Yahuwah Elohim commanded the man, saying, Of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of knowledge of tube and evil you shall not eat of it. For in that day that you eat therefore you shall surely die. And Yahuwah Elohim said, It is not tube that a man should be alone. I will make him a helpmate for him. And out of the ground Yahuwah Elohim formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto the man to see what he would call them. And whatsoever the man called every living creature, that was the name thereof. And the man gave names to all the cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast in the field. But for the man there was not found a helpmeet for him. And Yahuwah Elohim caused a deep sleep for the man to fall upon the man, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs, and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which Yahuwah Elohim had taken from the man made a woman, and brought her unto the man. And the man said, This is now bone of my bone, and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of a man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall cleave unto his woman, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his woman, and were not ashamed.
Jasher, chapter 1. And Elohim said, Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And Elohim created man in his own image. And Elohim formed man from the ground, and he blew into his nostrils the breath of Chai, and man became a living nephesh, endowed with speech. And Yahuwah said, It is not too for the man to be alone. I will make unto him a helpmeet. And Yahuwah caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took away one of his ribs, and he built flesh upon it, and formed it, and brought it to Adam. And Adam awoke from his sleep, and behold, a woman was standing before him. And he said, This is a bone of my bones, and it shall be called woman, for this has been taken from man. And Adam called her name Hua, for she was the mother of all living. And Elohim baruched them, and called their names Adam and Hua, in the day that he created them. And Yahuwah Elohim said, Be fruitful, and multiply, and fill the earth. And Yahuwah Elohim took Adam and his woman, and he placed them in the garden of Eden, to dress it, and to guard it. And he commanded them, and said unto them, From every tree of the garden you may eat, but from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat thereof you shall surely die. And when Elohim had Baruch and commanded them, he went from them, and Adam and his woman dwelt in the garden, according to the command which Yahuwah had commanded them. And the serpent, which Elohim had created with them in the earth, came to them, to incite them to transgress the command of Elohim, which he had commanded them. And the serpent enticed and persuaded the woman to eat from the tree of knowledge, and the woman hearkened to the voice of the serpent, as she transgressed the word of Yahuwah, and took from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and she ate. And she took from it, and gave also to her man, and he ate. And Adam and his woman transgressed the command of Elohim, which he commanded them. And Elohim knew it, and his anger was kindled against them, and he cursed them. And Yahuwah Elohim drove them that day from the garden of Eden, to till the ground from which they were taken. And they went and dwelt at the east of the garden of Eden. And Adam knew his woman Hua, and she bore 2 banim and 3 daughters. And she called the name of the firstborn Cain, saying, I have obtained a man from Yahuwah. And the name of the other she called Chaval, for she said, In vanity we came into the earth, and in vanity we shall be taken from it. And the boys grew up, and their father gave them a possession in the land. And Cain was a tiller of the ground, and Habal a keeper of sheep. And it was at the expiration of a few years that they brought an approximating offering to Yahuwah. And Cain brought from the fruit of the ground, and Habal brought from the firstlings of his flock, from the fat thereof. And Elohim turned and inclined to Habal and his offering, and a fire came down from Yahuwah, from Shamayim, and consumed it. And unto Cain and his offering Yahuwah did not turn, and he did not incline to it, for he had brought from the inferior fruit of the ground before Yahuwah. And Cain was jealous against his brother Habal on account of this, and he sought a pretext to slay him. And in some time after, Cain and Habal his brother went one day into the field to do their work, and they were both in the field, Cain tilling and plowing his ground, and Habal feeding his flock. And the flock passed that part which Cain had plowed in the ground, and to sorely grieve Cain on this account. And it sorely grieved Cain on this account. And Cain approached his brother Habal in anger, and he said unto him, What is there between me and you, that you come to dwell and bring your flock to feed in my land? And Habal answered his brother Cain, and said unto him, What is there between me and you, that you shall eat the flesh of my flock, and clothe yourself with their wool? And now therefore put off your wool off my sheep, with which you have clothed yourself, and recompense me for their fruit, and flesh shall you have eaten, and for the fruit and flesh which you have eaten. And when you shall have done this, I will then go from your land as you have said. And Cain said to his brother Habal, surely if I slay you this day, who will require your blood from me? And Habal answered Cain, saying, surely Elohim, who has made us in the earth, he will avenge my cause, and he will require my blood from you, should you slay me. For Yahuwah is the judge and arbiter, and it is he who will requite man according to his evil, and the wicked man according to the wickedness that he may do upon the earth. And now, if you shall slay me, hear, surely Elohim knows your secret views, and will judge you for the evil which you did declare to do unto me this day. And when Cain heard the words which Habal his brother had spoken, behold, the anger of Cain was kindled against his brother Habal for declaring this thing. And Cain hastened and rose up, and took the iron part of his plowing instrument, with which he suddenly smote his brother, and he slew him. And Cain spilt the blood of his brother Habal upon the earth, and the blood of Habal streamed upon the earth before the flock. And after this Cain repented, having slain his brother, and he was sadly grieved, and he wept over him, and it vexed him exceedingly. And Cain rose up and dug a hole in the field, wherein he put his brother's body, and he turned the dust over it. And Yahuwah knew what Cain had done to his brother. And Yahuwah appeared to Cain, and said unto him, where is Habal, your brother, that was with you? And Cain dissembled, and said, I do not know. Am I to guard my brother? And Yahuwah said unto him, what have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries unto me from the ground where you have slain him. For you have slain your brother, and have dissembled before me, and did imagine in your heart that I saw you not, nor knew all your actions. But you did this thing, and did slay your brother for naught, and because he spoke rightly to you. And now, therefore, cursed be you from the ground, which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand, and wherein you did bury him. And it shall be, when you shall till it, it shall no more give you its strength as in the beginning. For thorns and thistles shall the ground produce, and you shall be moving and wandering in the earth until the day of your death. And at that time Cain went out from the presence of Yahuwah, from the place where he was, and he went moving and wandering in the land toward the east of Eden, he and all belonging to him. And Cain knew his woman in those days, and she conceived and bore a bond. And he called his name Hanuk, saying, in the time Yahuwah began to give him rest and quiet on the earth. And at that time Cain also began to build a city, and he built the city, and he called the name of the city Hanuk, according to the name of his bond. For in those days Yahuwah had given him rest upon the earth, and he did not move about and wander as in the beginning. And Yerad was born to Hanuk, and Yerad begot Mahukayal, and Mahukayal begot Matushaal, and Matushaal begot Lamach. Hanuk, chapter 1.
The word of the Baruch of Hanuk, how he Baruch the elect and the righteous, who were to exist in the time of trouble, rejecting all that the unrighteous and wicked. Hanuk, a righteous man, who with Elohim answered and spoke, while his eyes were open, and he saw a Kadash vision in the Shamayim. And the Malach showed me, From them I heard all things, and understood what I saw, and which will not take place, that which will not take place in this generation, but in a generation which is to succeed at a distant period, on an account of the elect. Upon their account I spoke and conversed with him, who will go forth from his habitation, the Kadash and Mighty One, the Elohim of the world, who will therefore hereafter tread upon Mount Sinai, appearing with his host, and be manifest in the strength of his power from Shamayim. Mount Sion, and shall be afraid, and the watchers be terrified. Great fear and trembling shall seize them, even the ends of the Eretz. The lofty mountains shall be troubled, and the exalted hills depressed, melting like a honeycomb into the flame. The Eretz shall be emerged, and all things which are in it perish, while judgment shall come upon all, even upon all the righteous. But to them shall he give shalom. He shall guard the elect, and towards them exercise clemency. Then shall all belong to Yahuwah be joyful and baruched, and the splendor of Yahuwah shall illuminate them.
Matthew chapter 1. The Caphar of the generation of Yahushua HaMashiach, the bond of David, the bond of Abraham. Abraham begat Yitzhak, and Yitzhak begat Jacob, and Jacob begat Yehuda and his brethren. And Yehuda begat Peretz, and Zerach of Tamar. And Peretz begat Hezron, and Hezron begat Aram, and Aram begat Aminadab, and Aminadab begat Nachshon, and Nachshon begat Salmach, and Salmach begat Boaz of Rachav, and Boaz begat Obad of Ruth, and Obad begat Yeshai, and Yeshai begat David the king, and David the king begat Shalomah. And of her that had been the woman of Uriah, Uriahu. And Shalomah begat Rachavam, and Rachavam begat Abiyahu, and Abiyahu begat Aka, and Aka begat Yahushaphat, and Yahushaphat begat Joram, and Joram begat Uzziyahu, and Uzziyahu begat Yotam, and Yotam begat Achaz, and Achaz begat Yehizkiyahu, Yehizkiyahu, and Yehizkiyahu begat Menashe, and Menashe begat Ammon, and Ammon begat Yoshiyahu, and Yoshiyahu begat Yekoniahu and his brethren, about the time they were carried away to Babel. And after they were brought to Babel, Yekoniahu begat Shealtiel, and Shealtiel begat Zerubbabel, and Zerubbabel begat Abiyahud, and Abihud begat Eliakim, and Eliakim begat Azur, and Azur begat Zadok, and Zadok begat Joachim, and Joachim begat Eliel, and Eliel begat Eleazar, and Eleazar begat Matan, and Matan begat Jacob, and Jacob begat Yosef, the father of Miriam, of whom was born Yahusha, who is called Mashiach. So all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations. And from Dawid unto the carrying away into Babel are 14 generations. And from the carrying away into Babel unto Mashiach are 14 generations. Now the birth of Yahushua HaMashiach was on this wise, when as his mother Miriam was espoused to Yusuf before they came together, she was found with child of the Ruach HaKodash. Then Yusuf, her man, being a just man, and not willing to make her a public example, was minded to put her away privily. But while he thought on these things, behold, the Malach of Yahuwah appeared unto him in a dream, saying, Yusuf, Bana Dawid, fear not to take unto you Miriam, your woman, for that which is conceived in her is of the Kadash Ruach. And she shall bring forth a bond, and you shall call his name Yahusha, for he shall save his people from their sins. Now all this was done, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of Yahuwah by the Nab, saying, Behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a bond, and they shall call the name of the same Emmanuel, which being interpreted is Ar with me. Then Yusuf, being raised from sleep, did as the Malach of Yahuwah had bidden him, and took unto him his woman, and knew her not till she had brought forth her firstborn bond, and he called his name Yahusha. This concludes the reading of the 50th year of Yubal, the reading of the whole Caphar in the year, day 1. Shalom in Yahusha.
Shalom.